At Prefectural Academic High School in class 1 to 2, Sakamoto is a very classic student who does everything with class. His walk, his pose, his appearance, and as a result, several students, especially the males, are jealous of him. Three friends, Achan, Mario, and Kenken, decide to humiliate him in class. Before he enters class, the boys plan to release a brush on his head and humiliate him, but he catches the brush. And the students are embarrassed. They decide to pour water on him in the toilet, but he has an umbrella. They also remove his table from the class, but some other students accept to help him. They call him to the laboratory to continue their wickedness, but they set the laboratory on fire, and he helps them by calling the teacher's attention and telling the teacher he is at fault. They feel embarrassed and decide to like him. Another student, Sarah, a model, is also jealous of Sakamoto. He decides to get Sakamoto's popularity and hopes to get it during a bee invasion. However, Sakamoto uses a compass to kill the bees and saves the class. Sarah gets embarrassed and decides to be a comedian. Episode 2. Sakamoto notices that a fellow student, Kubota, is constantly bullied. He goes to have Kubota, who complains about being broke because of his bullies, and Sakamoto connects him to a part-time job. On his payday, the boys arrive again. They see him at the workplace and wait for him on his way home. Eventually, they attempt to ask for his money. He refuses to give them, and Sakamoto arrives. He subdues the boys and makes Kubota hit them. Kubota happily gets his pride back. Also, Aina, a girl with a crush on Sakamoto, attempts to make Sakamoto fall in love with her. She does the act in a book, and on her fifth technique, some girls, Yagi and Tanaka, interfere. They play kokuri. They say words that possess Sakamoto and eventually release him. It turns out Sakamoto was only pretending to be possessed. Episode 3. Some senior students are taking a liking to bullying juniors. One of them is Mariyama, who enslaves Sakamoto, telling him he is training him. Sakamoto does all the jobs until Mariyama feels Sakamoto doesn't need commands, and he should serve the way he wants. This way, Sakamoto gets the opportunity to punish Mariyama. He does petty things like cooking his clothes and locking him in a room until Mariyama learns his lesson. Also, Kubota fails his midterm tests, and Sakamoto decides to study with him. He visits his house and brings a seashell gift for Kubota's mother, who falls in love with him immediately. On his next visit, the mother keeps trying to talk with him and find him so much that he has to sneak out of the house. Episode 4. Sakamoto's teacher feels jealous of the fact that he has never broken any rule. He tries to set him up repeatedly, and it seems like he falls into his captive when he eats in class. He happily sends him out of the class only to find out that he only ate to check the food for the birds. After which the class goes for their food and nutrition practical, where Sakamoto does so well, and also during their art class, Aina pairs with Sakamoto to draw and he draws her. She changes her perspective on art and realizes the picture is fine. That day, fire breaks out and Sakamoto rescues Achan and the other students. Achan and his friends dig a hole, assuming Sakamoto has fallen into it, but they find out the hole is shallow. Episode 5. During a ball competition, Sakamoto mistakenly hits Kubota, and he has to tear off his clothes as first aid for his friend. As he returns to class, the head of the senior class thug, Hayabusa, sees him. He sees how Mariyama gets tensed after seeing Sakamoto, and then decides to meet Sakamoto. He asks to see him, but Sakamoto rejects the offer. However, when Sakamoto sees his dear friend Kubota, now bald, he goes to meet Hayabusa by the riverside, and they attempt to fight. A police officer sees them and they pretend that they are playing a palm-pushing game. They do this until Sakamoto pushes Hayabusa into the water. Hayabusa visits Kubota to apologize for his actions and bring him a meal to enhance his hair's fast growth. Sakamoto gets sick and goes to the health center before returning to class. Episode 6. One day as Sakamoto is leaving school, some elementary students follow him. They wish to be like him when they grow up, and they walk on a white line like him until they get to the end of the white line. He gives one of them a tissue paper which he throws and continues the line till they get home. He returns to school, and Megumi, his class representative, and a stalker take secret photos of him. She finds out there is a ghost possessing him to talk to him, and she goes to tell Sakamoto this. He doesn't consider her words and asks her to help photocopy some documents with him. She becomes his official photographer. If you're enjoying this video so far, make sure to hit the like button and subscribe for more anime recaps. Episode 7. Sakamoto goes to rent some videos, and he meets Achan and some other classmates there. They deceive him into helping them borrow adult movies, and also help him so their classmates won't catch him. He gives the videos to them and they invite him in to watch, but he refuses. He reminds them that they are underaged. As a result, they decide not to watch the video. The students attend their sports festival, which Sara decides he will use to reduce Sakamoto's popularity. When his first attempt fails, he ties Sakamoto's shoelace for the relay race. Instead of giving up, Sakamoto puts the baton in his mouth and runs like an animal. As a result, he passes the baton filled with saliva to another of their classmates, and they lose. Sara acknowledges his mistakes and decides to erase the memory of what had happened by running naked. Episode 8. The senior students decide to participate in the school cultural festival. One of them, Fukase, chooses to use the opportunity to embarrass Sakamoto. He goes to his class and damages their balloon while insisting it is Sakamoto's fault. He becomes a criminal wanted for his crimes, and he runs away. He tries to solve the issue and clear his name, which he eventually achieves. Episode 9. Sakamoto's female classmates talk about the first time they encountered Sakamoto. Megumi says hers was during their entrance examination when her eraser fell. Sakamoto picked it up and used it on his book before returning it to her. Michan was in a situation of rain where rain took her umbrella away, and she saw Sakamoto's umbrella in the same way. So she saw the beauty in the rain. Kana meant him when she forgot her bag and had to hold her book. She fell and Sakamoto helped her. Kubota's own is when his bandage with ring falls and Sakamoto returns it. Kubota falls sick and his mother attempts to get closer to Sakamoto. She goes to school disguised as Kubota and she tries to get closer to him. Her acts go wrong and she realizes she can do better by being a mother. Episode 10. On Christmas Day, Sakamoto does voluntary work by helping with the pedestrian crossing, and two boys come to meet him. The boys are college students and they invite him to their mixer, a Christmas party at the karaoke. All the guests sing and they listen. However, when it's time for Sakamoto's song, everyone in the gathering fall for his voice, and even outsiders join them. At home, Hayabusa's father tells him about a woman who will be his stepmother and organizes a dinner between the new family. Hayabusa fears that he doesn't have any skills for such dinner, so he goes to beg Sakamoto to help him. Sakamoto tells him such skills can't be learned in a day and he should buy a coat, so they will go for the date together, and Sakamoto will do the eating and other things. The dinner ends successfully, and on their way, his father sees his wife off, and the boys find out some men are harassing Hayabusa's father. They swap hands to fight after the fight. Hayabusa's father reveals his girlfriend is a con artist, while the boys also reveal themselves, and Hayabusa's father faints. Episode 11. It's the snowy season, and Sakamoto has never played in the snow before. When Achan hears this, he challenges Sakamoto to a snow fight. He fights intending to defeat Sakamoto, but Sakamoto just wants to have fun. He exhausts himself and feels cold, but Sakamoto stretches his hands to hold him. He realizes how bad his intention is. In their class, they all reminisce about how their year has gone and look at all the pictures taken by their class representative, including the photographs of Sakamoto. Episode 12. It's their graduation ceremony and Sakamoto gives a speech presenting a volleyball. Achan tries to attack him with a bat, and despite the injuries, he continues his speech. The thug in the school realize they can never stop Sakamoto from being the coolest, and they apologize to him. On the last day at school, rumors of Sakamoto leaving their school turns out to be true, as he has opted in to pursue his dream of becoming an astronaut. The student sends him forth by throwing pies at him, which he dodges. As he leaves the school, someone asks who he is since his face is covered with pies, and he says he is Sakamoto. Thanks for watching our video. Make sure you subscribe because we post weekly.